The mountain road was almost gone. Not fully gone. Just mostly gone. The kind of road that looked like it had spent the last 500 years trying very hard to disappear into the earth. Small stones poked through wet grass. Cold fog drifted between broken trees. Somewhere far below, water moved through the valley in a slow whisper. And at the top of that lonely road sat the monastery. Or at least what was left of it. Its roof had partly collapsed long ago. The wooden doors leaned sideways on rusted hinges. Cracks spread through the old stone walls like spiderwebs. From a distance, the place looked less like a building and more like a memory someone forgot to finish. For centuries, almost nobody came there. Travelers avoided it because of old stories. Local villagers said strange lights moved through the windows at night. Some claimed they heard bells ringing even though the bell tower had fallen generations earlier. Of course, every old ruin in Europe gets ghost stories eventually. It's basically part of the decoration package. But in the winter of 1887, a small group of historians decided to visit anyway. Not because they believed the ghost stories. Mostly because scholars will travel anywhere if you tell them there might be old books hidden there. Especially free old books. The group arrived just before sunset. Their horses struggled through the mud while cold wind pushed across the mountain path. Snow rested in patches along the rocks. One of the historians later wrote that the monastery smelled like wet stone, ash, and forgotten paper. Which honestly sounds exactly like an ancient library should smell. Inside, the silence felt heavy. Not peaceful silence. Old silence. The kind that makes every footstep sound rude. The monastery had once belonged to a small religious order known for copying manuscripts by hand. Long before printing presses existed, monks spent years carefully writing books one page at a time. Every letter was drawn slowly with ink and feather pens. Some books took decades to finish. Imagine spending 10 years copying one book by candlelight, and then someone spills soup on page 200. History was dangerous. The historians explored room after room. Most had already collapsed. Rainwater dripped through broken ceilings. Mold-covered wooden shelves. Rats had clearly become the new librarians. But deep beneath the monastery, hidden below a narrow staircase, they discovered something unusual. A locked room. The wooden door had swollen with age. Iron bands crossed its surface. Strange symbols had been carved into the frame, though time had worn many of them away. At first they assumed it was a storage chamber. Maybe food. Maybe wine. Hopefully wine. But when they forced the door open, they found something else entirely. Hundreds of them. Some rested in broken piles across the floor. Others remained stacked neatly on shelves blackened by age. Dust floated through the lantern light like gray snow. The room smelled of parchment and damp wood. One historian reportedly stood completely still for nearly a full minute. Not because he was scared, because he had just realized he was standing inside a library nobody had touched for centuries. And buried inside that forgotten collection was a single manuscript unlike anything they had ever seen. At first glance, it did not seem important. Its cover was plain brown leather, cracked and faded with age. No title appeared on the front. No author's name. No symbol from any known monastery. But when they opened it, everything changed. The pages were filled with strange writing. Not Latin. Not Greek. Not Hebrew. Not anything they recognized. The symbols curved and twisted across the parchment in neat rows. Some looked almost familiar. Others looked completely impossible, like tiny plants or stars folded into letters. And then there were the drawings. Odd plants with roots shaped like hands. Maps of places that did not seem real. Circles filled with tiny symbols. Human figures standing beneath black stars. One page reportedly showed a tower leaning over a dark sea while birds circled above it in perfect patterns. The more the historians turned the pages, the stranger the manuscript became. And yet something about it felt organized. Intentional. This was not random scribbling from a bored monk hiding from chores. The writing repeated in patterns. Certain symbols appeared again and again. The illustrations connected to sections of text in ways that suggested meaning. Someone had worked very hard on this book. But why hide it? That question quickly became the center of the mystery. Because this was not where valuable manuscripts were normally stored. Most important books remained in monastery libraries where they could be protected and studied. They were copied carefully and passed from generation to generation. But this manuscript had been hidden underground behind a locked door. Almost like someone wanted it forgotten. Or protected. The historians searched the room for clues. They found damaged records from the monastery, though many pages had rotted away. A few mentioned the silent text and the hidden volume. One damaged line warned that the manuscript should remain sealed unless the proper time had arrived. Which is exactly the kind of sentence historians both love and hate, because it sounds dramatic, but explains absolutely nothing. As news of the discovery spread, scholars across Europe became fascinated. Linguists tried to identify the language. Cryptographers searched for hidden codes. Religious experts studied the drawings for symbolic meaning. Nobody agreed on anything. Some believed the manuscript came from a lost religious group. Others thought it might contain scientific knowledge hidden during dangerous political times. A few argued it was simply an elaborate medieval prank. Honestly, medieval people had more free time than we give them credit for. But even skeptics struggled to explain one thing. The manuscript behaved like a real language. Words repeated naturally. Sentence patterns appeared consistent. The text followed structures found in genuine writing systems. If it was fake, it was an incredibly clever fake. And so the manuscript slowly became one of history's quietest mysteries. Not famous enough to dominate history books, not fully understood enough to solve. Just sitting there in silence, waiting. Even now, the manuscript rests carefully preserved inside a temperature-controlled archive. Scholars still study its pages. Modern computers analyze its symbols. Experts continue searching for hidden meanings buried beneath the faded ink. And yet, after all this time, nobody truly knows what message the ancient writer wanted to leave behind. Maybe it was a warning, maybe a secret, maybe a story meant for someone far in the future. Or maybe, somewhere in that forgotten library high above the valley, a tired monk simply wrote down something he believed the world should never lose. And somehow, against all odds, the manuscript survived. After the discovery, one question kept coming back like an annoying song you can't forget. Who actually made this thing? Because the more scholars looked at it, the less it felt like a simple monastery book. It didn't behave like one. Most medieval manuscripts are pretty predictable. You open them and you expect Latin. Maybe prayers. Maybe historical records. Maybe a long list of saints doing saint things. But this manuscript? It felt different. Almost like someone was trying to communicate without wanting to be understood too easily. So naturally, theories began. And once theories begin in history, they multiply fast. Like rabbits. In a library. The monk theory. The first and most obvious idea was that it was made by monks. This made sense at the start. The manuscript was found in a monastery, after all. Monks were the main writers of the medieval world. If anything needed copying, translating, or quietly suffering for 10 years straight, monks were your people. But something didn't fit. Most monks wrote in known languages. Even when they used shorthand or decoration, it was still readable to someone trained in the system. This manuscript was not readable to anyone. Still, supporters of the monk theory argued something interesting. Maybe it was a private system, a hidden language used inside a small group. Like a secret diary, but with more ink and less drama. One scholar even suggested that a single monk might have created it during long winters, possibly while questioning his life choices and the meaning of parchment. Honestly, not impossible. Monks had a lot of quiet time. Too much quiet time, some would argue. The scribe with too much free time theory. Another idea was that it was made by a professional scribe. Scribes were trained writers who copied important documents for kings, churches, and wealthy families. They were extremely skilled, and sometimes, apparently, extremely bored. This theory suggests the manuscript could have been an experiment, a creative project, maybe even a personal challenge. Something like, how weird can I make a book before someone notices? The illustrations support this idea a little. The writing is too consistent to be random scribbling. The spacing is careful. The structure is organized. It doesn't feel chaotic. It feels planned. Like someone had rules, even if nobody knows what those rules were. Still, critics of this idea point out something important. Professional scribes were not known for wasting expensive parchment on jokes. Parchment was not cheap. You didn't just casually doodle cosmic mystery languages unless you had either a very rich sponsor or a very patient personality, or both. The alchemist theory. Then things start getting more interesting. Some researchers believe the manuscript might be connected to alchemists. Alchemists were medieval scientists, kind of, but also kind of philosophers. And also kind of people who spent a lot of time trying to turn metal into gold while also writing very confusing notes about the universe. Their writings were often symbolic. They used coded language to hide ideas about chemistry, medicine, and nature. They believed knowledge should not fall into the wrong hands. Or sometimes they just didn't want rivals stealing their ideas. Which, honestly, is understandable. In this theory, the manuscript becomes a kind of coded science book. The strange plants could represent real herbs. The star maps could show astronomical observations. The symbols might be chemical instructions disguised as art. It sounds convincing, until you realize nobody can actually match the symbols to anything real. Still, alchemy explains one thing very well. Why everything is so weird. Alchemists were not exactly known for writing simple notes like add heat and stir. They preferred things like, let the dragon sleep beneath the moon while the fire remembers its shape. Which is poetic, but not helpful if you are trying to cook dinner. The secret society theory. Of course, no ancient mystery is complete without someone suggesting a secret society. This idea claims the manuscript was created by a hidden group operating inside or outside the monastery. Maybe they were protecting knowledge. Maybe they were recording forbidden ideas. Or maybe they just liked being mysterious for fun. Secret societies in medieval times were often blamed for things like hidden knowledge, coded messages, and general, we don't understand this so it must be secret, situations. The manuscript structure does seem organized enough to suggest multiple contributors. Some sections feel slightly different in style, as if different hands worked on it over time. But that could also just be normal variation in handwriting, or one tired person switching ink pens. Hard to say. Still, this theory adds a nice dramatic layer, because everything sounds more exciting when someone whispers, secret society. Even if it's just about accounting records. The astronomer theory. Another interesting possibility is that the manuscript was created by someone studying the stars. Medieval astronomers were deeply interested in mapping the sky. They tracked planets, seasons, and celestial events with surprising accuracy. Some even believed the stars carried hidden messages about time and destiny. In this theory, the manuscript is a kind of sky journal. The strange circular diagrams could represent star charts. The symbols might encode observations that were too complex to write in normal language. The plants might even represent seasonal cycles tied to astronomy. It's a beautiful idea. A quiet scientist sitting under a night sky, recording everything in a private symbolic language. But again, there's a problem. No known astronomical system matches the manuscript. Not even close. Which brings us back to mystery. As usual, the most annoying possibility, we don't know. After all the theories, arguments, debates, and long academic meetings where people slowly drink cold coffee and pretend they are not confused, there is still no answer. The manuscript refuses to fit neatly into any category. It is not clearly religious, not clearly scientific, not clearly artistic. It exists somewhere in between all of them, like it fell through the cracks of history and landed in a place where definitions stop working properly. And maybe that's what makes it so fascinating, because most historical objects tell us what they are. This one does not. It only shows us what we think it might be, which is a very different thing. So the question remains, who created it? A monk with too much time? A scribe trying something strange? An alchemist hiding knowledge in symbols? A secret group writing in silence? Or just one very determined person who believed words didn't have to be understood immediately to still matter? We don't know. And maybe we are not supposed to know yet, because every time someone gets close to an answer, the manuscript seems to slip away again. Quiet, patient, still waiting to be understood.